The year is 678 AD. The Arab fleet, vast and unstoppable, tightens its noose around Constantinople, the glittering capital of the Byzantine Empire. Eastern Christendom stands on the brink of annihilation. This city, the beating heart of an empire that once stretched across half the known world, is about to fall. And then, this weapon was so feared, so effective, it single-handedly saved an entire empire. Centuries later, it vanished without a trace. This is Greek fire, the weapon that turned the tide of war. Long before the seas themselves burned, ancient armies wielded fire as a tool of war. For millennia, fire was an indiscriminate, often uncontrollable force. The Assyrians hurled clay pots filled with sulfur. Greeks and Romans launched pitch-soaked arrows and flaming oils. Sometimes, they collected and ignited naturally occurring. The mighty Roman Empire developed what they called wildfire tactics. They catapulted incendiary pots, launched bundles of flaming straw, and experimented with chemical mixtures to prolong a burn. Siege towers were draped in soaked hides to resist enemy fire while their own flaming missiles rained down. But these were crude, short bursts of destruction, static and predictable. None could stick to a moving target or survive on water. When the Byzantine Empire faced annihilation, they needed more than old tricks. The year is 672 AD. The burgeoning Arab Caliphate, an empire built on conquest, has set its sights on Christendom's most coveted jewel, Constantinople. The siege would last an agonizing 6 years by land and crucially by sea. The Byzantine fleet, vastly outnumbered, faced inadequate traditional tactics. Desperate, they needed a game changer. That change arrived in the form of Kalinos or Kalinicus, a Jewish refugee chemist, some say from Baalbek, Lebanon. Seeking asylum in Constantinople, his personal story is shrouded in myth, but he brought something entirely new, utterly devastating to the Byzantine navy. Picture ships with decks mounted with ominous bronze siphons, styled as roaring lion or dragon heads. Below, a sealed furnace superheated a pressurized fluid. Then, with a terrifying shriek, a roaring jet of flame erupted from the nozzles. This was not a flaming arrow to dodge. This was a controlled, unrelenting. The Arab ships, unprepared for this unholy weapon, plunged into chaos. Crews screamed, many jumping overboard only to find the flames pursuing them across the waves. Fire spread like a plague, engulfing masts, melting hulls. Entire squadrons dissolved into infernos. By 678 AD, with their fleet decimated and morale shattered, the Arab siege collapsed. Constantinople stood. The legend of Greek fire was born. Greek fire was not just a mysterious substance. It was an entire weapon system, a marvel of medieval engineering. Byzantine warships known as dromons became floating flamethrowers. Siphons, pressurized by internal pumps, projected the mixture with incredible force. Modern reconstructions suggest these jets could reach 15 to 20 feet, a terrifying range for the time. But the Byzantines didn't stop. Handheld corrosophones allowed Marines to deploy Greek fire in close combat or on land, turning foot soldiers into walking flamethrowers. They developed grenade-like clay pots filled with the volatile mixture, thrown by hand or launched by catapult, exploding into sticky, burning chaos upon impact. This was not magic. Historians have successfully recreated devices projecting flame over distances, demonstrating the terrifying practicality of the system. Greek fire became the cornerstone of Byzantine military doctrine, especially in naval warfare, for over 400 years. In 941 AD, the massive Rus fleet, fearsome Viking raiders, launched an invasion with hundreds of ships. Only Byzantine ships unleashed coordinated attacks, flames racing across the water. The Rus panicked, their pagan gods offering no protection from the divine inferno. Most of their fleet was annihilated. The same story repeated in 972 against the Bulgars, and in naval clashes near the Levant in 1099 and 1108. Greek fire was not just a weapon. It was a psychological hammer broadcasting a message. This empire possessed even a weapon this formidable had its limits. Greek fire, while revolutionary, required calm conditions. A strong wind could blow the flaming jet back onto Byzantine ships. Its range, although impressive, wasn't infinite. Maintaining the complex pressure system in battle was risky. A ruptured hose or poorly aimed burst could turn the Byzantine dromon. More than one Byzantine ship likely perished, consumed by its own weapon. The substance itself was notoriously difficult to control. Water, the universal extinguisher, made Greek fire burn hotter and spread faster. Accounts suggest the only ways to quench it were sand, vinegar, or bizarrely, urine. Fighting fires on board was a nightmare, turning minor mishaps into catastrophe. Beyond immediate tactical challenges, the very nature of Greek fire created a unique burden for the empire. It demanded absolute control and unbroken loyalty from its handlers. Any disruption to this delicate balance could prove fatal. Byzantine emperors understood this power was a double-edged sword, a fragile gift from God that, if lost, could doom them. They guarded it fiercely, but for how long? And then it simply vanished. By the 13th century, Greek fire was gone, not phased out or replaced, just gone, like a flame extinguishing in the wind, leaving no trace of its formula. What happened to the weapon that saved an empire? One leading theory points to the Fourth Crusade in 1204, a betrayal when fellow Christians from Western Europe sacked Constantinople. Libraries burned, palaces stripped bare, and centuries of accumulated knowledge, including perhaps the secret of Greek fire, were lost forever. The specialized engineers who held this knowledge may have been killed or dispersed, their expertise irrecoverable. Others believe it was a slower decline. As the Byzantine Empire shrank, weakened by internal strife and external pressures, resources dwindled. Maintaining such a complex weapon system may have become economically impossible. The expertise might have simply died out as neither the Ottomans, who eventually conquered Constantinople, nor the Arabs, who captured its devices, nor even modern chemists have ever truly replicated its fearsome reality. Emperor Constantine II's chilling warning proved prophetic. Let this fire not be given to any nation of the infidels, only the Romans shall possess it. It burned on water, changed the tides of war, and vanished without a trace. A secret lost to the ages. Yet its legacy burns on. Modern weapons from flamethrowers to the properties of napalm carry its distant DNA. The very concept of projecting fire as a tactical weapon began here on the deck of a Byzantine dromon, aimed through a bronze siphon igniting the sea. The psychological impact of Greek fire was as powerful as its chemical composition. Imagine being on an enemy ship, watching your entire fleet engulfed in flames that water couldn't extinguish. What does that do to your will to fight? It broke morale, shattered resolve, instilling terror in the heart. The mystery of Greek fire continues to inspire. It appears in novels, documentaries, and video games. It fuels the passion of chemists, historians, and military analysts. Everyone wants to know, what was it really? In an age with so few true secrets, its enduring power lies in what we cannot replicate or fully understand. It stands as a weapon so advanced, so effective, and so terrifying it feels like something out of myth. But it was real, and for centuries it held the fate of an empire in its burning grasp. If a weapon like Greek fire could endure for 400 years, shaping an empire and disappearing without a trace, what from our time will leave such a lasting,